amazed how that conference opened the door of opportunities for several people, most especially for academic internship. We had people from Canada, from the US, from the UK, and from Iran. And so that created an opportunities for us as scholars to begin to network across geographical boundaries. And this has bred in some of us better tools of analysis, better understandings, and ultimately we published 2 books from the conference that are now on sale globally, internationally, which means the ideas that we incubated in Ibadan is now something that is worldwide. And so that has continued to facilitate the interest in this relationship, and the academic linkage between Ibadan and NSO is going stronger. As I speak to you right now, one of our academic staff is in Kennesaw State University teaching American students, and in the nearest future we are also expecting American lecturers to teach our students, and so that is facilitating a better understanding across these international boundaries. And so well, in the days of the Cold War, such things were not encouraged because of this superpower rivalry, but it's a brave new world. A world where global understanding is what is going to drive the human race in a better direction that will facilitate better progress for everybody else.
If you go in the archives in the United States, Europe, anywhere, and you look at the histories of the immigrants into the countries, you can easily find documentary evidence of their existence in these countries. When you look at Nigerians in the diaspora right now, we're probably the most educated immigrants to these other countries compared to the early immigrants, to the United States, for example. But at the same time, we can't go to the libraries or to the archives and see evidence of our existence in the United States. Our children, grandchildren, they want to know what we experienced, how we dealt with those challenges, how we kept our connections to home, what our home was like at the time that we immigrated. Now this will serve an important purpose, that we can go back, those children can go back and look at what we experienced, how we dealt with it, how our families back home dealt with our absence, how we maintain those contacts, and our dreams and fears and those ambitions that we realized and those that were not realized.
One of the things that I think will make them so enthusiastic about it is, first of all, the Nigerian film industry has become really big, and many of us actually watch as many videos from Nigeria as we could lay our hands on, whether in Yoruba or in English or in Igbo. And the other reason it will be very essential is to now see their own lives depicted in those movies and their programs. And I think it will be extremely successful among us in the diaspora. We could also use it to teach in the classroom. If there are 30-minute segments, we could use it to teach the history of African diaspora in the Americas or in Europe. So that would be a good way to bring some positive images to Africans in the diaspora. Reverse migration means that the people left the homeland, they went abroad, and they decided to return voluntarily. It is the element of voluntary has to be there. Now, if the government invites people, like the governments of Ghana, the government of Nigeria has invited those abroad to come back home and help develop the country. That invitation is very important, but it doesn't go far at all. What is important is what provisions were made, what changes have been made. Why did they leave in the first place? Now, in order to come back, why would they return? And what changes have been made in order to make them return? If there is water that flows in the tap, people will be coming back. If there are good roads, people will be coming back. Not because You have made this provision for those who are abroad because you have made those provisions for those who are in the country in order for them to enjoy those amenities. Another thing that usually happens is businesses. Everybody looks at the government, but businesses we can also establish. For those of us who are living abroad, how much remittances we are making that are going into private pockets, and how much remittances we are making that go into the official area in which the government would then have access to it in order to use. I don't think there is much of that yet. I don't think there is much remittance that is tracked by the Nigerian government. It does get into the hands of the government through exchange transactions, but that's not enough. So my advocacy would be that for Nigerians abroad to experience reverse migration and come back home, there have to be changes in the country that make Nigerians who live in the country comfortable enough in order to be able to attract others. Target the Nigerians abroad. Target the Nigerians at home who need those infrastructures, who need clean water, who need constant supply of electricity for their home and for their businesses, Nigerians who need a secure banking system, the Nigerians who need jobs to be available in the industries and industrial base for the country. Now do all of that and you will see that in the end you are going to affect not just Nigerians living in Nigeria but also Nigerians abroad.
Well, let's say for example a medical doctor is in Atlanta and he's thinking of coming to Nigeria. Well, he's talking to his fellow medical doctors in Nigeria. If he sees the way Nigeria treats its medical doctors and he doesn't like that, he's not going to come. But if he sees that his fellow medical doctors are doing well, they can operate in a conducive environment, the electricity doesn't go off while you're doing surgery, you know, and all those sort of things, then he will say, hey, you know, I want to go and join my colleagues over there and build a clinic or a hospital. You know, so once you make it conducive for people who live here, people abroad, you don't have to tell them, they will come.
So that's what America does for the citizen. America gives the citizen attention. If anything happens outside of the class, in the class, if anything happens to America, the whole world will know that America is giving attention to that one single people. And that's the way it goes on. And we are capable of doing that. We've always been doing that. But somehow it dwindled because of leadership problems. I don't want to be contentious. So I don't want to make it look like, oh, I've paid him to talk.
You look on the State Department, U.S. Department website, so for kidnappings in Nigeria, bad roads and armed robbery, Boko Haram. So all those things make it very difficult for us to bring students to Nigeria. They just will not allow it because of the liability issue.
But then there are some things you don't give time. When that thing occurs, then you know that we need to hurry through this. You don't give time for conflict to fester. You want to nip the conflict in the bud. You want to address the source of the conflict more quickly. You don't give time for terrorism to mature. You want to prevent it, and you want to manage it, and you want to resolve it. Anything that affects the security of people and the insecurity in the country is really at the highest state now. That needs to be addressed very quickly.
It's called the Africa Leadership Magazine, and that encourages the leadership excellence among Nigerians in diaspora, and it helps all of us to learn how to be good leaders, not along military lines, but in terms of being patriotic, in terms of leaving a good legacy for the country, in terms of making sacrifices to grow the country. And that's a effort Ken has been doing, and it's very encouraging. And he combines the best of two worlds. He lives both in Nigeria, lives abroad, and that's the example we were talking about. So add a synergy between the two countries, so there's interchange of skill and good potentials across the two countries.
There are signs that it can happen, that the Nigerian soul could be catered for, and that spirit of patriotism, that zeal, can still come back. So when you spoke a moment ago and you used a phrase that giving attention to the Nigerian soul. You just explained it. That was beautiful. That sounds like music to me.
Well, I'm being inspired by your words. So the idea and the notion comes from you.
Eventually, when we begin to evolve the script, because it's a process, it's a process.
Oh yes,
When we begin to evolve the script, you'll still be interested in this project. Like you're part of this project.
Oh yes.
You are. Don't try to run away from theories too much. You don't want to be pinned down by theory.
Well, I liked what you said today when you said that it's important to, I'm paraphrasing, to make the art, and have the experience inspire you to make the art, and then theorize afterwards. Because the theorizing afterwards, I think, is part of the reflection process that lets you understand more deeply what it is that you're setting out to do. And then you bring that reflection back into further development of the project. So it's a mutually feeding relationship. We have a way of looking at it in performance studies that says that it is dependent on that fusion of theory and practice. So you practice so that you can then make theory, but then you theorize so that it can go back and inspire your practice. So they work in concert. Yeah. And that performance itself is a way of knowing.
It is.
Absolutely, which is why we actually embrace this project, the Home Wins in Diaspora. We believe it will be an opportunity for Nigerians back home to see the lives and times of Nigerians in US, for Nigerians in US to relate with Nigerians back home. So that way we can project what we do in US in Nigeria and just let Nigerians know, let Nigerians see what we do in US. So we appreciate that promotion, we appreciate that integration of diaspora Nigerians and Nigerians in Nigeria.
I do thank you for embarking on the project with Kennesaw State University. One of the things, the question you asked me earlier on, which I answered partially and I'd like to come back to, is what role do you think that folks in diaspora may have towards Nigeria and our nation building? And I told you that the problem is that we do have a role and we don't have a role. And I told you why we may not have a role is because your efforts are not appreciated or utilized. But having said that, that doesn't mean that many of us in diaspora have not found ways to continue to try and make connections. So Kennesaw State University, for instance, has collaborations with 7 Nigerian universities, and within those collaborations we have different projects that we engage and embark upon with our colleagues in Nigeria. We do collaborative research writing with some of and joint publications. We have several joint publications with Nigerian faculty in some of our universities. We have faculty exchange programs where faculty from Nigeria come to Kennesaw and spend a whole semester, and we send our faculty in the summer to different universities and they spend 3 weeks or so in those places.
I guess what I think the power of the performing arts so often resides in taking what to us may appear invisible, either because we are so close to it that we don't notice it or we take things for granted, and render it visible. So to put it all together, the performing arts can make the invisible visible. The invisible can be those thoughts and feelings that reside in our unconscious or our subconscious or our unrealized lives or thoughts or dreams. And by seeing those represented in performance, they all of a sudden become visible and present to us.
it's a very dynamic university. In the last 2-3 years, the way it has grown, it's amazing. They must have developed a kind of magic to inaugurate such wonderful changes that I saw. I mean, I was there with them last year teaching, and it's amazing to see how they had created this kind of web of sophistication as well as efficiency that drives the university to greater heights. And I could even see from their students that they were having a wonderful experience. And so the template that Kennesaw State has used in arriving at that position is also what I recommend to my own university to ensure that we begin to copy, learn from them to move our system forward. It's very simple.
To the Nigerian side, so we want to let them know we are first and foremost Nigerians wherever we are. We feel what they are going through. We identify with them. We are definitely with them with everything going on there. And we look for opportunities to be part of the growth of the country. We're not detached from them. We're not just making complaints. We're not just talking about what's going on. We're not just blowing grammar like somebody told me. But we actually want to make a positive difference to Nigeria. So we encourage them to stay in faith, to keep on with what they are doing, and to have the hope and the confidence that in this generation, Nigeria will be where it's supposed to be, and we shall all succeed together.
What you're doing is extremely important.
Thank you.
And don't give up on it. And as more and more of our people here, understand what you're doing, the next time you come here, you will be inundated with number of people who want to be involved.
That's very encouraging.
So you're doing something that is of service to all of us. So, just keep at it. All right?
Thank you, Professor Kemi.
Thank you.
You've been so helpful and you've been so supportive and you've been an inspiration right from the scratch 7 years ago. I thank you very much.
Thank you. And have a safe trip back home. And, I wish you the best and your family and everybody at home. Keep it on.
Thank you, my brother. Because we are facing the airport now.
Yes, we're on the way to the airport and you're going to get to your flight.
I know.
Right.
So bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
H.O.W.A.D sí mú mi bí iná ń jó lórí omi tí jíjà ní sánmọ̀ màmá délé wa. Àkìgbàkàtà lọ́wọ́ àkìtì bàbá ọmọ kò má lè sọmọ nù Èdùmàrè bàbá wa tọ́jú mi. Àkìgbàkàtà lọ́wọ́ àkìgbàkàtà lọ́wọ́ àkìtì bàbá ọmọ kò má lè sọmọ nù Èdùmàrè bàbá wa tọ́jú mi. Ìbá ṣe gbàgbọ́ ilé kíkẹ́ ọkọ̀ délé àjèjì rẹ̀ àjọyìnbó ọmọ ìdálẹ̀ ọmọ àrò ilé sọ́rí ilé kòkó tagọ́sẹ́ ayé ọ̀nà ìyá àjọyìnbó ilé kòkó tagẹ́ àrò ilé adẹ́lẹ̀ lọ́sẹ̀ dandan kókó mi balẹ̀ bàbá lájò títí wọ́n di dandan ká padà sílẹ̀ Korosa kéré oko délé àfàbọ̀ èkúté àjọyìnbó àrò ilé sọ Madele Madele kéré oko délé oko tagbe àjọyìnbó Madele lọ sórí ilé oko tagbe. Olùkọ́ àgbẹ̀ bàbá àjọyìnbó ilé sọ̀kọ̀tàgbé ọkọ̀ mi balẹ̀ kíkéré oko délé ìyá àjọyìnbó Madele wà àrò ilé Madele lọ sórí Madele ọkọ̀ mi balẹ̀ kíkéré oko délé Madele àjọyìnbó Madele àrò ilé Madele lọ sórí Madele.